All right. Uh, Good evening, fellas. It's the man. It's definitely the man.
I agree with you.
Okay, so what's your reasons behind saying the man's the problem with a broken house, broken family?
Here- Here's why.
You
Because
got
of
2 minutes
whoremonger.
now. You got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Because of whoremongering. That's why.
Yes,
A
sir.
man,
Okay. Okay.
the reason is because when a man is sleeping around on his wife, when he's sleeping around, period, before he even becomes somebody's husband, he's causing the women that he go through to play the whore. He's causing all type of havoc and don't realize it. Ask me how I know. I am literally the child of a fornication on my dad's wife. My mom knew that my dad had a wife, and she had me and my sister. We are the product of a fornication. My dad it committed adultery on his wife. This all starts with us being unfaithful to each other, or the man stepping out on the woman. Now, do women step out on men? Absolutely. But from where I came from, being 46 years old, to now, it's always been the man. I remember my dad first telling me, "How many girlfriends you got?" That's the first thing he ever said to me. How many, well, as far as women is concerned, how many girlfriends you got? That's plural. That's an automatic suggestion for being a whoremonger. You know what I'm saying? That's
Okay.
taught in the black community. So I'll sum it up.
So
Though. I know we got to keep it to 2 minutes, but
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, that's the problem. The problem is the men got to realize how precious our women really are, and start realizing when this woman is a virgin and she gives herself to you, that is something that is very, very sacred. And when you go and hurt that woman by going and cheating on her and bringing her back diseases and all this, that, and the other, you turn her spirit into something else. And then you start to
Okay.
see what we got today, where they numb themselves, and these women can be, as
Now,
open as
okay,
they
okay.
are.
So I hear the what. Now I wanna read something real quick. I want to read something here. If we can go to Proverbs chapter 7, Ibuka, and I want you to read uh, Proverbs chapter 7, and let's read verse 5 real quick.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 7, verse 5. That they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger that flattereth with her words.
Read.
For at the window of my house I looked through my casement, and beheld
Casement.
among
Casement.
my casement, and beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding.
Okay, so we see that this is a woman talking here, right? Now let's jump up. Let's jump up to verse 18 and verse 19. I want to read it.
Verse 18. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves. For the good man is not at home. He is gone a long journey.
So we read in the Bible here, because I've heard. I just we gonna move. We gonna keep going. I've heard at least 4 people say it's the man's fault, even brothers. And God's telling you right here in the book of Proverbs that women commit adultery and cheat just like a man does. So Wati mentioned he referred to that, but he was still leaning it's the man's fault. Uh, it says right here, women cheat. This, and she even told the young man, she said the good man is gone. So this wasn't no bad relationship that she was in. This wasn't no bad marriage. She was just being a whore. She said, "It's the good man's gone. Come and let us get it in while he's gone. He's gone on a long journey." Now, I'll say that to say this. I'll pose this question, and any one of you sisters can unmute your mic and answer this. If a woman cheats on a man, will a man ever have a way of finding out if she didn't slip up in her cheating?
I say no.
If only we could measure how much she gave away, then we could, but we can't measure it.
Okay, so I heard a sister say no. Marcus said no. So it's pretty much the consensus that even if that woman cheated, you wouldn't even be able to tell if she cheated on you, and she wouldn't tell you in the first place unless guilt came across her or she slipped up and you caught her doing it. But it's easy to find out if a man committed adultery because what comes from that, right? Baby, hell, we gonna act different. Man don't ain't good cheaters, right? You ain't supposed to be
That's
doing it in the
that's
first place.
that's an opinion. That's not even based upon facts, to be honest. Because
What's that?
you
Yeah,
said that
men
a
lie
woman,
pretty good. Men lie pretty good.
men
Yeah,
lie
man
good,
lie.
women lie.
It's a difference
People,
between lying and being known about cheating. That's a difference. Men lie to get to sleep with women that they don't cheat on. Man can lie very good,
so I'm just
but do
saying
men?
that that's an opinion. So technically, there's no way to see if anyone has cheated. But when you cheat, that's a sin against yourself. Like that's a sin against your body, and that's supposed to be that's a that's a sin for us to do.
Hey,
So
can I
there's
give a quick
no way for
fact?
either person to know.
Can I give a quick fact?
Go ahead, man.
Please.
Okay. I live in New Orleans, okay? Between Mardi Gras, between Essence Fest, between Bayou Classic, between just those three events alone in the city, there are hundreds of thousands of women that come into this city just to have sex with a New Orleans man and go back home. And they're married. There's some of them are single, some of them have boyfriends. We talk to a lot of them, and a lot of them out of their own mouth, because it's not going to get back to where they come from. They all say, "Yeah, I got a man, but I'm here to get it in. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to get loose." These women say these things. So they get full of these hand grenades and they get full of all of these liquors down here because it's so prevalent, and they do the most. And then they go home like nothing ever happened.
I'm not saying women don't cheat. I'm saying it's the same way across the board. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying when you cheat, that's a sin against yourself. I'm not saying women don't cheat.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
saying
can bring
women can't
something
be
out.
hoes or men.
I can bring something out.
Who is that? Pentecost? Yeah, go ahead real quick. We're going to get to Shawnee and see what she thinks.
Yes, sir. It's based on something that's Zawadi. I think I'm saying your name right, Zawadi.
Yeah.
Something that you said, right? You said man is the cause of whoremongering and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Ibuka, let me get Leviticus 19:29. Let's see what God said. Let's see if your thoughts and God's wisdom is different, if it matches. Read that.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness.
Now, notice what it said. It's telling a parent, do not prostitute your own daughter. Do not prostitute your daughter, lest the whole land fall into whoredom. How is that going to happen? Because the daughter is being prostituted. But you may say, wait, parents don't usually do that. Yes, if your daughter had a boyfriend, she got prostituted. If your daughter goes around dressing immodestly, she got prostituted. And what does that cause? The land become full of wickedness because whoremongers go after whores. If there are no whores, there are no whoremongers. I'm mute my mouth.
Damn.
Facts.
Oh, man. Okay. All
Real
right.
talk.
If
Shawnee.
there are no whoremongers, there are no whores.
Huh?
All right. She just tried to flip it, but we're going to go to Shawnee.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. I hate to quote
I,
Kevin Samuels, but as he says all the time, he says women control access to sex. So if there wouldn't be any whoremongers unless the whore played the whore. But let's move on here. Shawnee, who's more responsible for these broken families today, men and women?
Hello, room. Thank you for letting me speak. I just wanted to say the women and Pentecost, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, pretty much hit on exactly why.
What was their reasons?
Women, if, well, first of all, like they were saying earlier about women keeping the household with the children. If you don't send your children out and you don't send women out in those ways, and women now, because we're talking about 21st century, if women now are to keep, the respect for themselves and keep the laws and know who they are, then it is, a lot harder for men to have the thought process that they can do these things. If we uphold certain laws, then men will respect those rules, respect those laws, respect those things
Okay.
that we are caring about ourselves. So I just
So
think
so what's
on that
what
level.
what's a way that a woman can respect herself nowadays to ward off whoremongers? What would you say if you got a daughter? You tell her, hey, this is how you gonna keep your box safe. A respectable man is going to come and find you one day, but you have to do these things in order for him to find you when that time is right. What would you tell her?
In short words,
Yeah, yeah.
well,
Short
my
words.
daughter,
What does she need to do to keep whoremongers from catcalling her?
keep herself covered, stay faithful to herself and her family,
Okay.
love
All right.
herself,
Keep herself covered. Faithful to her family, love herself. Okay, so the first
and
one you hit was keep herself covered. Why would you say that first? Why would clothing be the first thing to ward off a whoremonger?
because the woman's body is desirable
Okay.
and it's desirable by men. Every portion of it. Being a married woman, that's the point that I speak from and understanding that from our feet even.
Hey, that's a good point you make there. Now, a lot of women don't agree with that. They blame the man for looking at them being half naked and desiring them, and they be like, "Don't treat me like that. Why you talk to me like that?" Well, hey, Ibuka, if you still there, read Proverbs chapter 7 and read verse 10.
Proverbs chapter 7, verse 10. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot and subtle of heart.
So, according to the Bible, there is a difference in your apparel or the way you dress. You can dress like an whore, and you're going to attract whoremongers. And that whoremonger, he'll lie to you because he knows deep down that you're a whore. You just might be playing, you might be a classy hoe, you might be a hood hoe, but whatever it is, you're a whore. Why? Because your clothes have told him already who you are. And you just either you're putting up a front and you want him to play hard to get so he don't outright think you won or not. But God says it's a certain way that you dress. And if you dress in that way, you're going to attract the same type of people in the way that you dress. So that's a good point. Good point, Shawnee, that you brought out with that. All right, Natasha, you on. Sister Natasha. All right, well, while we waiting on her,
I'm sorry.
anybody? Okay, there she go.
I'm here.
There she go. All
Um,
right, so what's your thoughts on that? Who's more to blame, men or women?
I think the man.
Okay, and what reasons you would you blame the man for the broken families?
Um, I think. Where do I start? First of all, I just think. This is my personal opinion from my personal experiences. I don't think the black man ever takes accountability. At first they blame the
Oh,
system, then they blame the black women, then they blame us for being independent when we're forced to be. They leaving the house. From my personal, and I've seen this in my elders, and I've seen this in people in this century, and like I said, my elders. Um, it's to the point where you can never make the black man happy. Like the women that I've witnessed that had like I said, my uncle, for instance, he was a good man. He a different, to me, he's a different breed because he worked. and allow his wife to stay at home and properly raise the kids. I do think that not only does I don't I think women share some blame too. The black women do definitely share blame because they've been forced into a
Sis, you
situation.
can't sway on the other
No,
side of the
no, I'm
fence.
saying the
You
man
gotta
is.
stay
I think
on
the
one
man
side
is
of
the
the
most
fence.
blame. I think the man has the biggest blame
Okay. Okay.
because
So you
for
say the
leaving
man.
the
Now here,
home.
let me ask you this question, Sister Tasha. Now you said the black man don't take accountability. He'll blame the system. Then he blames the black woman.
Hmm.
Blame her for being independent when she's forced to be. Here's my question that I want you to answer. What does a black woman have to be independent if she's married?
She shouldn't have to be.
So does a black man get blamed for a woman giving up her most precious thing to him before she required him to marry her?
Now that's something we need to take blame of. We do. We definitely
So
do.
is the
But
man to
we have been
blame?
raised
So
too.
so
The
so here's the thing. So in that instance, then, because we got a lot of kids out here, we got a lot of
hmm
men. How many men, just general, just we just throwing it out there. How many men do you think ever laid down with a woman before he married her and said, "When we have sex, I'm gonna stay with you the rest of my life, even though we not married"?
I think I honestly think a lot of them did. I mean, and I could be wrong because I'm not in every situation. But I also think it started with the man teaching his daughter not to, you know what I'm saying, to require. Most men now, or most women now, are being raised by women, and men are being raised by women. Like the
So
problem get
so
real deep.
let's put that test to what you said. Michael Thaddeus, Pentecost 504. Now Marcus, we all man on here, and we ain't no saints. Before you got married, did you ever tell a woman that you was gonna marry her before you laid down with her?
Never.
Uh,
No, sir.
Not one time.
Nope.
Never.
well, my situation is a little bit different. I told her, hell no.
Oh damn! Hey, so sis Natasha, I know when people like every situation there, and maybe some out there. I'm telling you right now, y'all sisters be lying to y'allself when y'all be saying stuff like that. You know damn well, ain't no man ever said he was gonna marry you before he laid down with you. Y'all got to keep it real with y'allself. Y'all lay down with man before you get married because you're just as full of lust as he is. You want it just as much as he wanted. He didn't trick you out your drawers. He didn't force himself on you multiple times until you ended up with a baby by yourself before you was married. You wanted that thing, and you blamed him for being honest with you, even though you was lying to yourself.
And may I also, just to add to that, carnally speaking, worldly speaking, in the world, when I was in the world, I wore all kind of contraceptives. The women I dealt with before, they took contraceptives as well, whatever. These sisters let these dudes just drop nut all up in them or whatever, and y'all know, y'all know what happens when a man let off inside of you, man. Y'all know, and y'all don't care. Y'all just feel good, feel better raw, and y'all let this nigga go up in you. And then when you get pregnant, he ain't with it. You mad? At the end of the day, y'all stuck with the bag. That's why the Bible puts much more emphasis on the sister's chastity, because y'all the ones that end up pregnant. We don't. Y'all the ones that end up carrying the child. We don't. So and y'all new sisters, a lot of sisters, they go from man to man. They getting ran through raw. These men is letting off inside of them, and they know the results of what happens when that lets off inside of you, and you do it anyway. And then you somehow it's the man's fault. Like Z said, like I don't like to quote Kevin Samuels too much because a lot of the advice he gives is worldly, but he makes valid points when he says, men are the ones who control relationships. Y'all give us access to your body. That's your choice to give a man the option to go up inside of you and drop nut. That's y'all complete and total option. You allow it. And then when you get pregnant and the man won't be bothered, that's our fault. No, it's not. It falls primarily on you because you're the one that gets pregnant now. I'm not saying that the man is right for doing so. I'm not trying to say that the man is right for doing so. I'm just saying the responsibility solely falls upon you because you know when he go up in there raw and let off or whatever, you know what can happen. You know the possibility is endless when it comes to pregnancy. That's what sex leads to. So when I hear sisters say things like, yo, the man is to be blamed, it bothers me because Kevin Samuels says it all the time. One of the biggest things our sisters refuse to take is accountability. Let me give you an example. I use it all the time. We use it all the time. When a man chooses not, because you mentioned being independent, when a man chooses to not take care of a child that he's made, he knows it's his, she knows it's his, looks just like him, he knows it, she knows it. He's like, man, I ain't taking care of shit. I ain't ready to be no father. F that, I'm good, I'm doing me. And you black, and you drag his black ass to court before that white man and garnish his wages, right? Any excuse he gives, y'all don't want to hear that shit because he's being held accountable. Now, when you flip it around or whatever, women is it's like when it comes to sisters or whatever, and they go, "I don't want no child," whatever. It's just it's like a double standard. It's like men are held accountable, but women are not held accountable. Y'all, like I said, y'all are the ones at the end of the day that have to carry that child. Real quick, give me Sirach 42 verse 7. This goes back to the point that Pentecost made about Leviticus 19 and 29 about prostituting your daughter, because one of the most important things is the parent is to watch over the daughter for this number of things. Read that 42 verse 7.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 42, verse 7. Deliver all things in number and weight, and put all in writing that thou givest out or receivest in.
Yeah,
Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish.
get verse 9. You don't talk about, man.
Yes, sir. Verse 9. The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth.
Right. So right
And
here,
the
it says the father waits for the daughter when no man know me. The father has to keep a diligent eye on the daughter, even when no one's around. His eyes are always on her. His eyes should be on her phone. His eyes should be on who her friends are. His eyes should be on what she's wearing. His eyes should be on where she's going. His eyes are everywhere when it comes to his daughter. Right?
and the care of her taketh away sleep.
And the care of the daughter takes away his sleep. We're going to find out why he's putting such emphasis on the father caring for the daughter so much he loses sleep. Hey, watch this.
When she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age.
The
And
reason why he loses sleep is because when she is young, she does not have sex early. That's why there is to be no boyfriends. There is to be no girlfriends. There is to be no prom nights. There is to be no running around dating. Understand? I'm gonna keep it 100. Biblical smoke, we keep it 100. I'm not justifying what men doing this. Women have been taught in this society that y'all can do what men can do. What I mean by that is this: men back then, not now, under the New Testament, in Christ, a man can have one wife. Back then, a man can have a whole bunch of women. Back then, multiple wives, right? And our penis doesn't change. We can have one woman, two, three. The rods stay the same. The sperm, we can have babies, shoot babies out till we're freaking 75, 80. Y'all on the clock. Y'all go from man to man. You know what happens to you? You get stretched out. Your box is all loose. It looks like a jar of cow tongues. It's all beat up. Looks disgusting. You're getting ran through. You cannot go from man to man. You get stretched out. It's not normal for y'all to do that. That's why back then, women was confined to one man. That's the name. My man died. He dropped dead. Then she moved on to another man, if at all. But for the most part, the women did not go from penis to penis. Y'all not built to do that. But society has told y'all, if he can sleep around, I can too. No, there's certain things that happen to y'all that don't happen. For example, when the woman lays with a man, y'all bond with that man. There's certain things that let off, you bond to that man. You're linked to that man. Y'all emotionally attached. Y'all can't deny this. Especially when a man finds a woman that's a virgin, there's this expression, never forget your first. Women are very, very clingy. They're attached. That's their nature. You're emotional. You attach. When you sleep around, that bond gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and you become more and more whorish. And that's what happens. It changes everything. There's a certain. You can sit there and argue if you want, but it's what it is. Y'all cannot sleep around. Now, I'm not saying a man can sleep around. He shouldn't do that. What I'm saying is that there's certain damage that's done to you when you do that that doesn't happen to us because you're not built to do that. Read on, continue. Watch this.
And being married, lest she should be hated. Verse
Right.
10.
The father's job is to make certain that his daughter doesn't have sex too early, and he grooms her so that when she gets married, she's not a bitch. She's not hated by her husband. She's groomed, she's raised to be a wife. That's the father's job because the daughter sees the father, how he conducts himself, how the mom conducts herself, and he tries to groom her to respect the man that she's. Remember, the father's job is to hand over his daughter to the husband. And the responsibility of the father passes on to the man she's with. Women back then, and they should be now, women were always under a man. Independence is bullshit. No such thing as independence. No one on this earth is independent. That's fairy tales. I'm independent. No, you're not. You're depending on someone for something. You go get a job, you're depending. You go get a gas, you're depending. You go buy food, you're depending because someone provides these things for you. That's why it's called supply and demand. No such thing as independent. I'm tired of hearing black women say this nonsense. You're not independent. You're relying on somebody. You're depending on someone for something. That doesn't make any sense to me to say I'm independent. You are not independent. It's fairy tales. Continue.
Verse 10. In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house.
Right. So the father's job, he watches for her to not have sex early. He watches for her so that she's not a asshole when she gets married, a diva, which goes back to bitch, a diva, same thing. A diva, or he watches out for her to make certain that she is not pregnant and banged out and living in her dad's house. I mean, she gets ran through by some dude and she's still living in her father's house. He makes certain that she does not go out and whore herself. That's the job of the parent. And that goes on all the time. It's a common thing. You get pregnant, grandma taking care of you and the baby, or you go out to the club while your kids stay at grandma's house, or they're watching or whatever's house, aunt's house. This Bible says she's defiled when she does that. Go ahead.
And having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself. And when she is married, lest she should be barren.
Right. So meaning the father looks up for the daughter to groom her so that way when she does get married, these things don't take place where the Most High will have it where he makes it where she can't have no kids. He'll make her sterile. Because God controls life and God controls death. If God wants to close your womb, because a lot of sisters they struggle to have kids. They go and get them freaking artificial inseminations, they go get them shots, whatever, because they can't have no kids. They struggle to have kids. And God is behind that because especially sisters who run around and they're disrespectful, they're wicked as hell. So the father's job is to watch out for these things and make sure to the best of his ability while she's under his roof that these things don't take place. So again, when it comes to accountability, and we've had these topics before, our sisters, they love to not hold themselves accountable. Now, I heard some sisters on here say both. Okay. But it's very, very rare I hear sisters say, yeah, the woman is accountable because she gets, at the end of the day, she got to carry the child. And you let these dudes just let off on you and tell you what you want to hear and let them up. It don't make no sense, you know?
Right.
Give me my mind.
All right. Hey, I wanted to go because we got to get solutions. Got to get solutions on here before we close out. Hebrews 13:4. Hebrews 13:4. How do you fix black people? How do black people, Hispanic people, fix broken families? Here's one of those solutions straight out the Bible. Hebrews 13:4.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge.
We as a people, we've gotten so far away from marriage that it is destroying us as a nation. Most of us is growing up in broken families where now we've gotten to the point now where we've got accidental families. What we mean by accidental families? You're born into a situation where your mother, your father aren't married. They never planned on marrying. And the only reason that you are even considered as a family is because somebody slipped up and got pregnant. That is not a family at all. That's not what God created in the beginning. He created Adam, Eve, and then they had children. They was family. They was married. Eve was bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. She was named woman because she came from a man. We've gotten to the point where we got accidental, made up clown families, kids that don't even live with their fathers, kids that only see their mother with boyfriends. We've gotten away from understanding that marriage is honorable. And you know, a lot of it goes into people trying to keep up with this damn social media. Y'all keep listening to Megan Thee Stallion and try to have a hot girl summer. Keep doing that. You're gonna have a hot girl summer and a cold ass winter. Cause you're gonna be by yourself, begging for the child support. You come get these kids. That's your kids too. You take care of them too. But you stuck with them in that cold ass summer because you trying to have a hot girl, a cold ass winter because you trying to have a hot girl summer. And the same thing on the flip side for you man. You gonna stay broke. You know why? Because you're gonna be caught up in the child support system because marriage wasn't honorable to you, and that white man is going to make sure he makes your life a living hell with that child support. That's one way that the white man knows to keep black families destroyed. Keep the black man because he's a whoremonger, and all
Hey,
he's worried about is sex and no marriage. They're gonna destroy your life through the child support system.
you see, that's what I was saying, bro. That's what I was saying before. I missed my point. That's what I was saying before about accountability, man. Like black men, you don't take care of his child. Y'all sisters don't hear no excuses. He can say, "Yo, man, I'm having a hard time. I'm broke. I can't make. I don't make enough money." They go, "I don't. You sisters don't. You sisters will dog pile him. Oh, nigga, take care of your child. You ain't sh. Niggas ain't sh." When a black woman says, "I don't want this child right now. I'm going to abort it." Whatever. What do y'all say? Oh, she's going on hard times. Oh, she might have gotten raped. Oh, y'all defend that to the bitter end. But when it come to a man and accountability, y'all will attack us relentlessly. The sisters get all the passes. Go ahead, man.
Good point.
Assume
Good
so
point.
much. That's very much. That's not even a fact. That's an opinion. That's not based upon fact. That's based upon certain women that you see. But different people's situations is different. Yeah, sometimes
And
women make excuses for other women, and they should hold other women accountable. But to say accountability and say that women are just men gotta hold they gotta hold themselves accountable, and I don't see a lot of men holding other men accountable for the things they do.
Hey,
Like not even
Tangy.
just the child support, but just the pushing
Hey,
of the
Tangy.
division between men and women.
Tangy. I
Yes.
could say this. I could say this. Cause you my sister. All right. You're not in the circles of men when we talk. We talk we when we talk to our brothers, we real and raw with a lot of our brothers. I'm talking about even before we changed our lives and started living how the Bible says live. We would tell like, hey bro, what you doing, bro? You know you wrong for what you doing. They do it anyway. Why? Because the women allow it. You got to understand something. Get Sirach chapter 7 verse 6. You got to understand something. Men are here to have sex with a woman. That's why God's first law was what? Be fruitful and multiply. Like E was bringing up earlier, there's a lot of things that men do, women can't do. But this is what women have to start to do going forward. That's why Z brought up marriage. Read that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first,
You
and
got
be
to
not.
prove your friend first. Prove them. Meaning, when you prove somebody, you got to go through some things. It's not just having a conversation with them for 3 to 6 months. No, y'all have to actually go through some things. An argument has to happen. He has to go through some trials. You got to go through some trials. Is he going to stick with you through your trial, or you going to stick with him through his trial? Or y'all going to help lift each other up with the scriptures? Not with your emotions. Oh, I really feel like we got a connection, but yet he's running game on you for 6 months until he get the draws and then he bounce.
You know what I'm saying? Once y'all open your legs, you open yourself up to all types of manner of evil. Like there's an old saying, why buy the cow when I get the milk for free? Read on.
And be not hasty to credit him.
And that's where a lot of this single parent homes come from. Because when you look at it, when we talk about, oh, men have a bunch of babies and they leave the women, yeah, and that a lot of that is true. A lot of that is true. But as of recently, because of social media, we see a lot of times men want to be there, but the women don't want them to be there because they're being vindictive or they're holding a vendetta against the man. A lot of times we never get the man side of the story. A lot of times we don't. We get the woman side of the story, but we never get the man side of the story a lot of the time, which is why when you look into the scriptures have given us warning about the men in these last days. That's why when the sister said earlier, Z asked the sister earlier, we got all of these Christian churches, why the black family is still broken? Is because we're not moving according to what the scriptures have told us. Like another sister said earlier, if you cover yourself up, guess what? You're not going to attract no men that just want you for your body. But if you put your body out there, you're going to attract men that want your body. They're not going to want your body and look at you like, ooh, she got a fat one. I wonder if she makes a good wife. No, they're not. No man thinks like that. Go to 2 Timothy 3
And
and
Matt,
start at verse. Yes, sir.
I didn't cut you off. Just to further my point. I'll give you an example. Just don't forget your point. You had Bill Cosby, right? Bill Cosby, the Me Too movement came along. He was having sex with these groupies. It was groupies. It was his hoes. Let me fly. That's my personal opinion. And they were having pills and popping quaaludes and all that stuff. And they all claim rape, right? Oh, you drugged us. Oh, right. Then he got locked up for it. Cardi B came out, said she was drugging niggas. She was a stripper in the Bronx. She was putting shit in niggas' drinks and all that and drugging them and taking their money. Did she spend any time in prison? No, none. So again, going back to my point, in accountability, when it comes to accountability, men pay the price. Period. And like you was saying, men do get on men because this is allowed. But when it comes, especially on a media scale, men do a lot of shit and they're held accountable to the highest degree. Women turn around and do the same exact thing. It's a problem. It's okay. It's an excuse behind it. I'm just making that point. And no one can deny that point. That same thing they claim Bill Cosby was doing. Cardi B openly admitted to that shit, and she ain't served no time. Let me quiet. Go ahead.
Yep, that's true. Go to 2 Timothy 3. Read verses 1 through 4.
2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God.
And the reason why I wanted to read all of those things at one time is because we were giving a clear warning. All men are not going to be like this, but a lot of men are. And a lot of times, a lot of sisters, you run into these men and they show you all of these traits. But there's a lust inside of you that makes you continue to deal with that man. And then once it comes out, this dude is not going to change. And what you saw at the beginning is what it is at the end. Then the relationship dissipates. And guess what? You either stuck with the baby or you stuck with a broken heart. Then you take that broken heart out on everybody else, every other man. And then it's all men ain't doing this and all men ain't doing that when it's really anecdotal to your situation. You know what I'm saying?
Matt,
These warnings, yes.
what it say? I can mold him. I can make him what I want him to be. I mold him. You hear that? You hear that all the time. I mold him. I make him what I want. You know, he has potential. I see potential in him. You hear that?